I swear, we just keep changing spots all the time. Better the integration room. Welcome guys again. You should know me by now, Roger from Shuttle. And I'm here to complete the series. Unless they want to do all-in-ones and slims, family slims. For build guides. So, we have here SZ170R8 version 2. Let's get that out of the way. So it's a Barebone. If you buy one of these, without an SI, no system integrator, you get the chassis, the power supply, the heatsink, and that's pretty much it. And the motherboard, of course. So that means no CPU, no RAM, and no additional add-on cards. So that's on you. If this is your first time building a computer, I'm here to guide you. So if you follow my steps, I promise you won't break anything. Can't guarantee that. But there'll be less risk of doing so. So this is an example, and this applies to all cubes. You know, if you buy this one, or you buy an R4, an R6, you know, one of our product lineups, for the most part, it won't be 100%. You might be little differences here and there, but for the most part, it'll be roughly the same. So just a little bit of practice and a little bit of studying, you should be okay, and a little bit of common sense, of course. So let's get to it. Like I said, here's the chassis. To get access to it, you have a whole lot of thumb screws here. So what you're going to do is you can just remove these three, but I'll remove all of them. The reason why, you have to undo the heatsink. So might as well just get rid of all of them. So I'm going to turn it over, and all you really need is a Phillips screwdriver. That's pretty much all you're going to need. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo all these screws. Alright, so we just do this now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Alright. That wasn't too hard. Keep those in a safe place. You'll need them. Anyway, so by now you should have most of your components already bought and ready. So here, I have a processor. We're using an i7-6700K. Kaby Lake's being used right now. Here I have a GTX 1070 as a reference card. This is a Founders Edition card. Again, just have all your components ready, makes your life easier. I got 2 sticks of Kingston memory here, DDR4. They're 2x4 gigs. SATA cable, you might need this, you may not, depending if you choose to use a drive. Like this one. This is a 2.5-inch SSD, Western Digital Blue, 256 gigs. 250, sorry. This also applies if you're going to use a mechanical drive. This unit can support 3.5-inch drives as well, so you'll still need that SATA cable. And here's an M.2 drive. I decided to include this just because I do get a lot of questions on how to install an M.2 drive. A lot of people get confused. I'll clear up that confusion. So, jump back into the build. Cover comes right off. Put this aside, make sure it doesn't get scratched, dinked, dented, anything like that. So, alright, so to dive into the unit, all you have to do is remove this bracket. This bracket houses your 3.5-inch drives or your 2.5-inch drives. Obviously no optical drive bay because the front panel is flush, if I could speak English. Is flush, but if you have an R6 or an R4 chassis, there is an optical drive bay, so keep that in mind if you choose to use an optical drive. So, to get rid of the bracket, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 screws. Very simple. Nothing too difficult right now. So, 1, 2. That's it. Alright. And then you're just going to simply lift up, and it should come right out. And put this aside. You'll need this a little later. Alright, so we can move these cables out of the way. Just move them out just like so. Alright. So, there's a lot of chains of thought. What do you install first? Like I said, I personally like to remove everything completely so I get a nice clear view. So the next step for me would be to remove the heatsink. Some people like to install the RAM. It's up to you. To remove the heatsink, all you have to do is if you installed an Intel heatsink before, this is exactly the same. So all you have to do is counterclockwise to make sure it's loose. Alright, so to remove the heatsink, you're just going to twist counterclockwise and pull up. So just do that for all 4 corners. And there'll be a little connection that is already undone, but usually it's connected here. So all you have to do is just pull up, and all you have to do is grab it from the pipes and carefully pull up. If you feel some struggle like this, just play with this a little bit. It should come right out like so. And there you go. You get access to the socket. Alright guys, so to install the processor, if you've seen my other video series, it has not changed. So I have the processor right over here in the protective cover. We're going to remove it. So, alright. So, when you look at the socket, there'll be a clear film. Please remove that. You don't want the film to be on during the install, unless you want your computer to burn. So, in this case, there's a bunch of pins right here. Careful not to touch them. Very delicate. So that's the only part of the process where installation, you should be very careful with installation. So to proceed, there's this little lever right here. You're going to push away and up. In this case, I have cables in the way, so I'm going to assist it. Alright. So that's a retention plate that lifted, and it exposes all the pins. Those pins touch these gold contacts. Careful not to touch the contacts with the oils on your fingers, as your fingers have oils, dirt, debris, whatever. So to install it, there's 2 methods. You can line up the notches with the notches on the socket, or you can line up the gold triangle with the triangle layout on the motherboard. You can only install this one way. Technically speaking, there is a wrong way, but if you just follow that prompt, I might have to lean over just to see. Okay, very carefully. This is a zero insertion force method. So you're not going to push down on it, you're not going to do anything. You just got to lay it on the pins carefully. Give it a little wiggle to make sure it's in there. Push down the retention plate. And these 2 hooks right here should line up with this screw. It kind of looks like a forklift almost. So after that, you're going to pull the bar back. Make sure you untangle any wire in the way. And this is the scary part. You're going to feel a lot of tension. Don't worry. Push down on the tension, slide the bar away, and slide it underneath this little latch. There you go. That's probably the hardest part of the whole install. So once you do that, I like to move on to RAM. Installing the RAM is very simple. These little notches pull apart. Make sure you have the correct memory. This is DDR4 SODIMM, non-ECC. This is Kingston brand. We have a support list on our website. You can check it out there. Doesn't necessarily have to be this. So I usually start from the closest one to the CPU, like so. So we're going to line this up. There is a notch. Actually, I should show this beforehand. There's a notch here, and there's a notch on the board. So just line up the notches and press down. So let's do that now. You might see a lot of my hand in my way, but this is a little odd angle. Okay. So right now, I think I installed it backwards. See, right now, if you install it backwards, it will not go down. So that's the wrong way of doing it. So all you have to do is just flip it around. And there you go. That's much better. So one side, 2 side. You may hear an audible click or not. If you don't, you can always try again. So in this case, I didn't hear a click this side. Now I did. There we go. So sometimes on this side the cable gets caught. Just keep that in mind. And there's an audible click. So that's 1 stick installed. And if you're not sure which sockets to use, always refer to your quick guide. 1, 2. That's it, guys. You've installed RAM and the processor. So you're almost home. Alright guys, well, usually I will install another component, but this is a perfect time to show you the M.2 installation. A lot of people get confused, and rightfully so. I understand why. So I'm here to clear it up. M.2 install. There's a screw right here. A lot of people think this is a standoff and a screw. It's actually not. It's a one-piece mechanism, and I'll show you how it works. So you may have to get a smaller bit. I have a Phillips 1 right now. You're just going to go ahead and unscrew this little stand. Okay. And essentially, this is your M.2 drive. Looks like a stick of gum almost, and if you installed SO-DIMM memory, it's very similar. It only goes in one way. So, in this case, I have a Micron drive. It's a 2280 drive. This unit could support 2242, 2260, 2280 drives. It could also support the NVMe protocol. You know, if you want more technical details, look at our site. So, to install it, all you have to do is grab that little screw, like so, and you'll see, I don't know how good the camera will get, there's like a little slit in there. There's a little slit, and it lines up with the hole on, with this little notch here. So you're gonna slide it in like so. This might take a try or two. So just, there you go. So it's in. So there's no need. I've seen people destroy this. You know, they get pegs, they get pliers, and they try to strip out the screw. It's a one-piece installation. So it goes in just like this. And here's just a close-up on how it actually installs. There's a little notch here. There's a notch on the screw, and it goes together like so. Unless it went this way. Yeah, that's how it went. So that's my mistake. So this is the M.2 2230 drive. It's the same idea. I was plugging it in backwards. See, even professionals make mistakes. You're gonna plug it in like this. You'll hear a snap. All the gold contacts will disappear, and just line it up with the hole. You'll hear it just snap into place. All you do is you grab your screwdriver, and very carefully, because your peg can fall out, you're gonna screw this down. That's it, guys. Just give it a quick wiggle to make sure it's installed properly. And that's it. Your M.2 drive is installed. Alright guys, so we're going to move on to heatsink installation. But beforehand, I'm going to go ahead and just install the SATA cable just to get it out of the way, because it might be a pain once you install the heatsink and the video card to reach these ports. So, I'm going to go ahead and connect it. This only goes in one way, and this cable is actually in your accessory box. So don't wonder where I got it from. It comes with your Barebone. So I'm going to put it on the SATA 1 slot, just like so. I'm going to move this cable. We can just leave it there, it's fine. So, heatsink installation. This thermal compound, I don't know. This thermal compound comes in the accessory box. There's a lot of methods on how to do it. You can do it however way you want. Let's see, there we go. I'm just going to put a little dab on it, just like that. Again, some people like to spread it, some people like to put the grain of rice method. It's really up to you. So to install the heatsink, if you remember, we did counterclockwise and pull up. Again, there's various schools of thoughts on how to do this. This is just the way I do it. I rotate it back clockwise, make sure they're all clockwise. And I go ahead and line it up with the 4 holes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. Alright, so I already twisted these clockwise. I didn't push them down yet because you need to push them down to install them. So just line them up with the 4 holes. And just take your time. This isn't a PC building race. Just take your time, make sure everything's in place. Enjoy your build, guys. This is your components. There is a certain joy to building it. Alright guys, so right now I'm just making sure all 4 pegs right here are lined up with the holes. And all you have to do is push down on opposite corners to ensure even pressure. You'll hear an audible click. Easy as that. And finally, to complete the installation, there's this 4-pin header that connects to this 4-pin header here, which is a little rough to see from my vantage point, so I have to do it by feel almost. There we go. And you have successfully installed your heatsink. And here's the 4-pin CPU fan header. It is keyed. You see those 2 rails? They line up with that notch there. So all you have to do is plug it in like so. And that's pretty much it, guys. You pretty much finished installing the heatsink. Alright guys, next we can move on to installing the video card. So the video card is actually pretty simple. You just have to keep in mind the dimensions of the card. You know, we have dimensions on our global site to show you what kind of dimensions in terms of the card fit into what chassis. So keep that in mind when purchasing a card. And also keep in mind the width. There's dual slot and there's single slot cards. In this case, this GTX 1070 Founders Edition is a dual slot card. So I'm going to have to remove both of these placeholders here. So all you have to do is just unscrew these two. Okay, and this small little retention bracket comes right out. Go ahead and we're going to remove these. And you have pretty much freed up the slots and are ready for video card installation. Alright guys, to install your video card, kind of the same idea as the RAM. There's a notch here and there's a notch on the bracket. There's only really one way to install it. So again, this should just go down with even force. You know, you don't have to really press down on it. Just move any cables out of the way. This is a small form factor PC, so cable management is a must. So we're just going to slide this in here, like so. Again, be very careful. Try to move the cables out of the way. This is one of the longer cards we have available. Okay, and then you just rest it on the PCI Express slot, like so. And all you're going to do is, once you see that it is actually lined up properly, you're just going to push down. And you're going to finish off the installation by reinserting this bracket here. If I can see it, like so. Like so. Sorry, I struggled with that. It's a little bit of an odd angle. And you're just going to line up the screws back to their correct position. So might have to wiggle the card in place, but that's fine. That's why there's a little leeway. Again, I don't like to screw it down all the way. I just like to get it started. It did one there and a second one there. You can do a little test. See, the card's nice and secure. Now you're not fully done yet. Keep in mind, graphics cards have, some of them have supplemental power. So if you have supplemental power, now it's a good time to route your cable. So in this case, it comes with the clip. You undo the clip and you get access to all your cables here. So keep that in mind. There will be one set of cables that have this little one that says PCI Express, used for PCI Express only. In this case, this card only takes an 8-pin. There's a 6x2 pin right here. And I'm not going to fully connect it yet. I'm just going to route it here. All you have to do is just combine that 2-pin with the 6-pin to make an 8-pin connection. And it only goes in one way, guys, so don't force it. Just push down on it and it'll install properly. So now, that's one of the more common problems, is they install video cards and they forget their supplemental power. The computer will turn on and whatnot, but no video information will be outputted because the video card's not being powered. So now you're getting appropriate power. You guys are almost done. We're going to move on to hard drive installation. Alright guys, now here's the hard drive installation. So this is completely dependent on your configuration. In this case, I have one SSD. So if you're going to use multiple SSDs, you may have to buy an accessory to convert this into a 3.5 inch. If you're only going to use one, on the R8 series, keep that in mind, the R8 series has these little holes that line up with 2.5 inch drives. The R6 and R4 chassis do not, so you may need to buy an accessory bracket for it. So in this case, since I don't need one, it's a simple installation. These screws come in your accessory box. They're 4 little small threaded black screws. Very simple. You're gonna grab your drive. I just like to flip this around like this. Line up the holes with the corresponding holes on the bracket. And all you have to do is just go ahead and begin installing. So magnetic screwdrivers help a lot. Start with one, hold it in place. I'll just do 2. I'm not going to do all 4. If you're gonna do solid state storage, you know, you can use all 4. It's fine. Do as I say, not as I do, kind of thing. Here's just to show you guys how to do it. And there you go, you can carry on, finish the last two. But that's pretty much it, guys, and keep that in mind. If you're going to use multiple 2.5-inch drives, you will need brackets. If you're going to use 3.5-inch drives, no brackets needed. And also connect SATA cables accordingly. So if you're going to use 4, connect 4 SATA cables. If you're only going to use 1, connect 1 SATA cable. So that's pretty much it, guys. From here, the bracket goes onto the unit. Guys, you're almost home free. So before you install the hard drive, don't forget to put your thumb screws on the back of the heatsink. This will be your last chance to do so. Last thing you want is to have the whole system assembly and notice that the heatsink is not screwed down. So I just did it right now off camera. It's not terribly hard. So here's the tough part. You have to basically do a little cable maneuvering. So the first thing I like to do is grab the SATA power cable and just connect it to the drive. And then grab the data cable and connect it to the drive. If I can line it up properly. There we go. Alright, so what you have to do is you kind of have to just play with the cables. This is a small form factor computer, so cable management is priority. So you just got to move the cables all about and just start slowly making sure nothing is being crushed. Okay, so it'll slowly start to descend. Gotta start playing with it. And essentially, you will eventually find a spot just like that, where everything will fall into place. Like I said, just make sure nothing is being jammed. That's pretty much it, guys. You go ahead and you finish just screwing your bracket here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me go ahead and get that started. Again, guys, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but always keep in mind the number of drives. If you have 3 drives, you need 3 power connections and 3 data connections. So have everything wired beforehand. And the final step is cable management. Alright guys, cable management, there's no science to it. I mean, you just try to get a bunch of cables and try to tidy it up. And what I like to do is just try to tidy up as many of these cables together like so. And with the included clip, just try to clip them all together like so. And then go ahead and just put it off to the side where if I need to upgrade, it's easy to access. If I had more time, maybe I'd route them this way, but just for the sake of this video, I tied them up like this, and you're pretty much done, guys. You just go ahead, put your top cover on, and you're pretty much ready to roll. Alright guys, so you pretty much are at the finish line. Just go ahead and you populate the cover, make sure no cables are in the way. Just slide it into place like so. Again, nice paper, nice microfiber cloth to get rid of any of the fingerprints. And just go ahead and use your thumb screws to wrap up the project. That's it, guys. You've done it. You've built a Shuttle Cube PC with all the trimmings: video card, SSD, M.2, RAM. Everything's ready to roll. There you have it, guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Voila. Was that so hard? It's actually not that hard to build PCs. You just have to take your time, be careful, don't rush things, and enjoy your build, guys. I mean, this is ultimately going to be your computer, your components, your workstation. So the best thing you can do is enjoy the build. So, like I said, that's pretty much it. This is an example of a cube build with all the trimmings. And you see I have a little shot glass here. So you may take a shot before or after, depending if you need to calm your nerves or to celebrate. I used it as a way to keep my screws in check. So that's it, guys. You know the drill. I'm Roger from Shuttle. Visit our website, us.shuttle.com. See our complete lineup. You can see this cube, SZ170R8 version 2. You can see our other cubes, Slim players, Nanos. Our whole complete lineup is there. If you want technical specifications, they're available on the site. Visit our Facebook, like our Facebook. YouTube, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Comment any clarifications you guys need me to go over, any help, anything like that. Feel free to make them known in the comment section. If you're not a YouTube guy, if you don't like to comment, email us, services@us.shuttle.com. We'll get to your inquiries eventually. This is why we're doing this. We paid attention to your inquiries. A lot of people wanted a build series. And who knows, we might continue with an all-in-one and a fanless. Those will be really short, by the way. Those will probably be 5 minutes tops. Just the build part. And Instagram, @Shuttle Labs. You can see our adventures there. That's pretty much it, guys. Here's a nice, fantastic cube. Gaming on the go, workstation on the go, whatever you guys want. And that's it, guys. I'm Roger from Shuttle, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now.